divided into two curved plastic funnels that meet in the middle to add strength to the base. The result of this endeavor was Lampan, an IKEA bestseller.
I am really proud to have been a part of Lampan. It's a perfect example of reducing something to a minimum of components to find the perfect form.
A small idea grew into a big success. Now that's what we call an example of a bright, shining classic.
So that's an example of how the design, also thinking of reducing the amount of air shipped and the sales solution, even led to the fact that the whole box was completely removed. The product itself became the packaging. Next. Here's another one. It's a design element. It's called the PS 2014. It looks like a little bit like a Star Wars element. It works in the way that it's built-in dimmer. You have the light like this, closed, and then when you open up, you want more light, you pull the string, and it opens up like this. This one also comes flat-packed. So you put together the pieces yourself, and this is how the sales solution looks like inside the store. We have a small clip of this one as well. Can we show the clip, please?
Inspiration for IKEA products sometimes appears out of empty space. These are the voyages of IKEA PS Pendant Lab. The lamp is the endeavor of designer David Wall, a huge fan of science fiction.
I try to go beyond the final frontiers when designing the lamp. To me, it's a fusion of many things. When I look at it, I see a lamp and at the same time a spaceship.
It has the ability to transform itself into a dimmer by manually pulling a piece of string, releasing more light into space.
That's just special effect. It doesn't happen.
The lamp is constructed of 48 parts that easily snap together into one perfect globe. So when you next let the lamp beam up your space, know that it originates from a galaxy far away.
So we think about this all the time. So even though the basic underlying idea and the vision and business idea is almost close to 70 years now, it's companies constantly trying to improve and make it better. So this is the Billy bookcase. It's also been around for 30 years plus. And it's just shrunk in size. That's the box behind there. That's how big the total box is for the bookshelf. And the price has gone down every year over the last 30 years as well. Still working on making it even lower. Next picture. And that's, you can see the volume. It's a volume business. And if we want people to be able to pick up the product the same day, we need to store it there. You find it in the showroom, go downstairs, you pick it up, go home, assemble it, and you can have your new product the same day. That's our promise to our customers. So being on the way, as we talk about, it's a constant movement and development. We try not to rest on our laurels. There's always development going on inside the stores, inside the markets, with the manufacturer, and also in Sweden, in the design center. Here's the next development. They talk a little bit about Swedish in here. I'm sorry about that. But they will also talk English. And here they show how we're taking the next step with the self-assembly. So you actually don't need tools, and you don't need to have any extra fittings. It's all built in from the start. So this is also something that is coming right now more and more. And it's done in a very sustainable material, wood. So if you can show the clip, please.
Det är mycket snabbare, det är inga lösa delar ju. Allting är ju färdigt. Alltså den stora nyheten det är ju den här revolutionen att man inte har liksom en stor skruvpåse som väger något kilo.
So it's a revolution. They don't have the fittings.
Of assembling furniture.
Innovationen som sådan är ju den här träwedgen som gör att man kan göra sammansättningen väldigt enkel för kunden eftersom den är monterad på fabrik.
So these are built in the factories already.
Vi skulle kunna montera i stort sett utan några som helst verktyg, utan att man med bara händerna i stort sett skulle kunna.
So only with your hands you can assemble it.
Then we also have, of course, the sustainable part of the product. It's a lightweight construction with a poplar veneer on the outside.
In order to save as much forest as possible, we put air in the product and still make a very strong product. Here we have just solid wood where we need it in order to have a quality on the edges and save material. Always when we can save material and we can save energy of producing the articles and we can have it lighter for the customer. All that is very important for IKEA.
Just the feeling, you know, when you open up the package and you have this wooden product and you also have the fittings in wood.
Could it be about 2 minutes?
No, not that good.
2.5? No. 3? 3.5, okay. Feels quicker because it's so fun.
3.5 minutes. And then looking ahead in the future, something that we've not been very strong in is e-commerce. One of the reasons why we have been a bit concerned traditionally is that it's very important for us to attract people to our stores because we think that when they're there, they'll get and to see the solutions, try the sofas, etc. And then to be very good with e-commerce is a whole separate logistical setup too as well. Because we want to make sure that people that are in the store can get the product straight away. So we have to separate the logistics supply. But if you think about it, if you look at the business idea of IKEA and look at the flat packs that we have, then they are married in heaven. So more and more it's rolled out. I think 10% of the turnover in Germany now comes from e-commerce. And here in the region we'll soon roll out e-commerce too as well to do it. So it's a continuous development, have to move with the times and try to improve and lessen the impact on the planet at the same time. So more than business. We have a clip here. We also looked and supported the big refugee streams that take place right now and has been doing for the last 20 years in areas of conflict. And IKEA has working very closely, the IKEA Foundation worked very closely with different aid organizations around the world and NGOs. So here's one example where the IKEA Foundation has worked and IKEA's knowledge has created flat-packed houses.
Living in tents and temporary shelter all around the world. One of the biggest need and the most immediate need for these people is to provide a roof over their head. And thanks to funding from the IKEA Foundation, we have started a project to design better shelters for these families.
At the IKEA Foundation, we believe that every child should have the right to a safe place to call home. So we've entered into a very unique partnership with the United Nations Refugee Agency and a team of Swedish designers to create a better shelter for refugee children and their families.
For housing, we use many types of temporary shelters, but mainly those are tents. But quite frankly, the tents have not much evolved over the years. They still rely on canvas, ropes, and poles. They are hot during the summer and cold in winter. On average, a family will spend 12 years in a camp, so many children grow up calling this shelter home.
Our goal with refugee housing is to revolutionize the refugee tent, or at least to vastly improve it. What we see here is a prototype of a flat-packed house. It is designed this way, like an IKEA bookshelf, to be easy to transport and to be easy to set up in the field.
We're trying to create a more modular approach to shelter, a shelter that is easier to ship, easier to assemble, and easier to live in.
It all starts with a frame. All I need to set it up, I have here in front of me. So we have connectors, we have some pipes, and a bunch of wires.
Durability is critical. Typically, our tents last only about 6 months due to harsh climate conditions.
These are the refugee housing units panels. They are very, very lightweight, and they are durable. They provide insulation, and they fit right onto the frame. These can last up to 3 years.
In a refugee camp, typically at 6 o'clock, it becomes dark. Refugee tents have no power at all, so no lights for homework, sewing, cooking and eating.
This is a solar panel that we developed specially for the housing units. It provides electricity to run a light indoors and also energy to your necessities. Lastly, we developed a shade net. It may look like a very simple product, but it makes a significant difference. It reflects the heat, which means that in the daytime you have a cooler environment, but in the night times it reflects back the heat, so you then have it a bit warmer. This is something that a tent or a tarp does not do. If you would not be impressed by the look of it, you would see a significant difference when you're living inside it.
We are starting to test these shelters in Ethiopia at the border with Somalia, learning from the feedback from refugees in order to fine-tune the design of the shelter.
A home is important, but these children also need quality health care, they need education, and they need a decent family income. So we've entered into a long-term partnership with the UN Refugee Agency so that they can provide health care and education and training skills to refugee children and their families in Bangladesh, Sudan, and Ethiopia, and not just with the families and children that live in the camps, but also the surrounding communities.
Know that in the near future we will